Harvest Harmonics, and welcome to today's episode of Innovations in Agriculture. And today I wanted to kind of devote today's episode to kind of just a question and answer. I kind of wanted just to answer your questions, reach out to you guys, whatever's on your mind, whatever questions you have about Harvest Harmonics or me. You want to know my favorite color, or whether I like long walks on the beach or whatever, or if you just want to know more about how our technology works and how it can help you, or how you can help farming in general, or some of the different issues that we're facing today, then by all means, I'm happy to answer those questions. So feel free to put your answers in the comments of this video, or if you're whether on YouTube or on Facebook or anywhere you're watching this, please put your questions and concerns or anything on the comments here. I'd love to answer them for you. And while you guys are kind of thinking up questions and writing down your responses, before we get to that, I'm going to kind of go over a few questions that I've seen over the last several days on some of our posts and some of our earlier episodes, just to answer some of those questions. So the first question that I got recently was, do you have a label? Okay, do you have an MSDS sheet? Do you have a label? And for those of you guys who don't know what that is, an MSDS sheet is basically a material safety data sheet. And that is a sheet that you would see on chemical-based things. Like if you actually sometimes can get this for even household products like bleach or other things. But essentially what this is for chemicals. It's a sheet that basically explains what's in a particular product and what are some of the potential dangers or risks of working with the product, whether the product is toxic or not, whether the product has certain properties that shouldn't be mixed with other chemicals, and that type of thing, suggested uses, dosages, all that stuff. So that's very, very common with all chemicals. In fact, with agricultural chemicals like certain fertilizers, pesticides, and stuff like that, you do need an MSDS sheet, or the manufacturer should have one. If it's an organic product that's suitable for organic growing, again, if it's a chemical-based product, whether it's a fertilizer or pesticide or what have you, then that will have an MSDS sheet that must be approved by either OMRI or the NOP, the National Organic Producers Organization in the USDA. But the reality is we don't have a label, we don't have an MSDS sheet. And the reason why is because our product is not a chemical. Okay, our product is actually an irrigation device. It's a device that installs onto your existing irrigation line. The device does not inject a chemical or anything liquid into the water. It utilizes a signaling system, and these are actually quantum waves, meaning they're very tiny electromagnetic waves that go into the water. Okay, and what they do is they actually take advantage of a very unique property of water. And that is the ability of water to hold information, electromagnetic information. I'm not going to go too far in depth into how all that process works. However, if you go to our science page on our website, you can go to harvestharmonics.com. In fact, I'll put a little caption here with that page here, so you guys can go to it or refer back to it after this. Actually, I'm just going to go to our website. If you go to our website, you can see on the menu, it'll say the science. It's a menu page. It'll take you right to that page. Then you can watch the video from our agricultural engineer, Brett Miller. We are also updating our scientific white paper, which should be ready hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And once that's done, we really go into exactly those properties of water and exactly how our system is sending those signals into the water, and how water is able to carry these signals and this information from the point in the irrigation system where our device is to the plants, and then how the plants can utilize it, etc. It's a very complicated process, but our white paper will explain that in full. So if you have more questions about that, please let us know. But our system is not a chemical, so there really is nothing to worry about in terms of organic certification. It's not implanting or inserting any kind of chemical or anything into the water. So we have never had any problem with organic certifiers or organic certification. And if you're an organic grower and you have a concern about that, please let us know. We're happy to work with your certifier directly to make sure that they know our system and understand exactly how it works, so that there's no interference there. Last thing we want to do is cause our organic growers any issues. So, and we have lots of organic growers, so it's not a problem. Isa Fonseca asked me, does it need a power supply? Very good question. Our system does not need a power supply. It's a self-contained unit. The transmitters that make up our system are self-powered, almost like a battery, and they last for 2 years after they're first activated. And then after that, the transmitters wear down and they need to be replaced. So our system does not require external power or any kind of extra hookups. Literally, it's just attach it to your irrigation system and follow the instructions, and our system will do the rest. It's very, very easy to use, just to let you guys know. And another question I got, and this was actually on LinkedIn, we got this question, and this was, what makes your product organic? Now, this was kind of I'll be honest, this was a kind of a challenging type question. He kind of seemed antagonistic or a little bit angry. I'm not sure why, but he really was kind of saying that our system was not organic. And I guess whether or not our system or sending those quantum waves into the water is considered organic or not is, I guess, to some degree a matter of interpretation. There are people out there who literally believe that anything beyond using manure and water is not organic and is not considered a safe for human consumption. And if that is your opinion, that's your opinion. That's totally fine with us. We don't share that opinion. In our opinion, organic growing really refers to the not using of chemical-based fertilizers or chemical-based pesticides, or using materials that are considered healthy for human consumption. And then that's, if you look at any certified organic grower in the United States and pretty much around the world, I think there is a pretty good consensus that that would be what is considered organic growing. Now, there's a lot of different types of methodologies and philosophies as far as different types of growing mechanisms. You have regenerative farming, which may or may not be organic. Generally, it is. You have organic growing methods, which are usually the standardized and dictated by the NOP, the National Organic Producers, and OMRI, the Organic Materials Review Institution. I believe that's the acronym there. But those institutions really define what is organic and what is not, and what constitutes organic growing methods. And so we follow those guidelines. Okay, so if you have a different definition or maybe a more strict definition as to what you consider organic, that's totally up to you. That's totally fine. I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just trying to help make farming better. I'm trying to help the organic guys grow healthier and more quantity and healthier food, and help the conventional guys reduce that chemical usage so that they can save more money and produce a higher quality product. So hopefully that answers that question. Do you have trials in sugarcane? Very good question, actually. Yes, we do have some trials. We have, I think, 3 trials right now in sugarcane ongoing. I don't know what the results are yet. They're kind of mid-season on that, so I'll be happy to send you information. Guys, if you want information about specific crops or specific trials, then go ahead and shoot us an email, and we'll be able to get that information out directly to you. And our email here is service@harvestharmonics.com. We'll make sure we get that information over to you as far as a crop-specific trials or university trials, etc. Some of that stuff you can find on our website already, but if you don't want to go through that, if you have a specific question, please send that to my email address or our email here, and we'll make sure we get you the answers. But we do have a couple of trials ongoing in sugarcane right now, and we'll be able to get you those results soon. Next question is, and this is another question we got, I think, through LinkedIn recently, and that is, will this work on cannabis? Now, the answer to that question is yes, it works on all plants. But the secondary part of that question is our company policy is that we do not sell our crop booster products or Kiminasi plant booster products to any drug growers or any growers of crops that have psychoactive substances in them. And these would be crops like medical cannabis or medical marijuana, psilocybin, which is a mushroom anyway. I'm not sure we would even have an effect on that. Opium or poppies, or any kind of, peyote or anything like that. Any type of plant that would have psychoactive properties, ayahuasca or something like that, any type of hallucinogenic or psychoactive crops, even the ones that are used in pharmaceuticals and that kind of thing, we will not support. So we do not sell to those growers. If it is a medicinal product like an herb or maybe like a CBD or something that doesn't necessarily have a psychoactive component, but maybe used in herbaceuticals or something like that, and it doesn't have a psychoactive component. We do work with those growers. So if you have crops like that, please, again, just reach out to us. We'd be happy to discuss that particular crop with you and if it would be a good fit for our system. That's just our own company ethics. We don't really want to fight over it with anybody. We're not here to make any political statement or fight with anybody that may disagree with that opinion. From our opinion, it's just we support drug-free world and other drug prevention and drug education programs, and we don't feel it would be appropriate for us to support those organizations and then at the same time support growers of those products. So if you're one of those growers, I'm sorry we can't help you, but if you're willing to grow non-drug crops, we'd be happy to work with you at that point. Another question here is, does this technology help trees grow? Yes, it does, Helene. It does help trees grow. It helps all plants grow. Any type of plant that has photosynthesis, our system will work. So it doesn't matter. Mr. Bamelli, who invented this technology, has already tested this out on grasses, and that would include crops like hay, turf, bamboo, sugarcane, those types of crops. Any of those grass type crops, wheat, barley, those types of things. It works on row crops like peppers, tomatoes. It works on horticulture like flowers and any type of horticultural product like nurseries and those types of things, and trees. It produces good results on nuts, tree fruit, stone fruit, and even trees that would be used for forestry or otherwise be used for horticulture and decoration as well. So any type of plant that utilizes photosynthesis will benefit from the Gymnasi plant booster. So other crops like mushrooms and those types of things, which are fungi, they're not actually plants. They don't have photosynthesis as their primary growth mechanism. We can't guarantee any results on those. Next question is, can this technology help me improve the health of my citrus trees that have a disease? Good question, Mary Angel. Yes, we can definitely help you. Our technology does improve the health of plants, and that will include diseased plants. So if you have trees or plants that are diseased or having some issues, we can definitely help improve and boost the health of those plants. It does depend a little bit on how advanced that disease is. I know we've tested this here on HLB, citrus greening here in Florida, and we have improved the health of the trees and gotten some positive results. But it did not necessarily dramatically improve and reverse all the aspects of that disease, because in many cases that particular disease was very, very advanced, and you're talking about a disease that's wiped out 80% of all the citrus production in Florida. So we have had beneficial effects on those trees, but hasn't necessarily completely wiped it out. But it will definitely help. It will definitely make improvements there. So if you have a disease or some kind of health issue with your plants or your trees, then let us know. And again, you can send us an email and send us the information on it. And we'd be happy to work with you to see if we can help you out. Okay. And I'm going to go again. I'm just going to kind of look through here and some of these. I've been getting lots of questions. That's why I wanted to have this. Do you have representatives in Turkey? Very, very good question. It's a funny question because my cousin and my wife's cousin and her husband, her family are all from Istanbul. My wife is from Istanbul, Turkey, and they all speak fluent Turkish. And I think we're going to be. They're very interested in helping us because they want to help farmers. They want to help the people of Turkey eat healthier, and so they're going to be helping with me with some translations and some meetings here with some growers in Turkey. And we definitely want to get a lot of Turkish growers going, as well as growers all over the world. We want to help humanity. This is not so much an American thing or a Turkish thing or an Egyptian thing or a South American thing. Our mission really is to improve the health of all mankind and the health of all plants that we can get a hold of. And we know that protecting the environment and helping mankind is going to help everybody, and that's really what we wanted to do. We didn't want to focus on one country. We want to focus on helping as many people as we can, and that includes everybody. Even when we have political conflicts or cultural conflicts or whatever, I mean, sometimes those things rear their ugly head, like it is in Russia and Ukraine right now, unfortunately. But we definitely want to help as many people as we can. Let's see what other questions I have here. Do you have reps in Africa? Yes, we do. Does this work on flowers? Yes, it does. What kind of results can I expect? So that's another good question I get quite often is what kind of results I get. With all the complexities of agriculture, it's sometimes tough to really make that accurate prediction and say, hey, you're going to get 80% increase in yield guaranteed. When you look through our presentations and you go to our website, you see all the case studies, and it's real easy to say, hey, you know what? That guy got 87%. That guy got 150%. That guy got 270%. That guy got, 34%. That guy got 60%, and these really stellar numbers. Of course, we would love to be able to say that we can get all those stellar numbers on every crop, but it really is so many different factors that it's hard for us to really nail down. The simplicity of it is, though, we have a money back guarantee. And the way that guarantee works is if you don't make more money than the cost of our system, the full cost of our system, which is a 2-year product, if you don't make that money back in the first year, we give you your money back. So we don't want to take anybody's money. We're not here to try to gyp people or make promises that don't come true. We know that our technology works. We know that we've seen this be consistently producing, and we know that the return on investment is always very high, especially if you're a specialty grower. Your ROI is going to be very, very huge, and we're never going to have to worry about you asking for your money back because the proof is in the pudding. Once you see the results, you'll know that this really is working and it really is benefiting you. And of course, we don't really have to worry about that. But it's there in case you ever need it. So can the plant booster be used in any crop? Yes, it can. Our system, again, works on all plants. Any plant that has photosynthesis, which is what 99% of the plants on the earth, Venus flytraps and other types of non-photosynthetic plants, I can't guarantee, but it does work on other types of plants. So if you have row crops, you have grasses, you have trees or anything like that, it produces consistent results. So the other plant that I get, a question that I get quite often is what is the return on investment? And again, that varies from crop to crop. I've seen some ROIs that go all the way up to literally 30 to 50 times the cost of our investment. So, you give me $1,000 and I'm going to give you $50,000 back, or you invest $1 million, you're going to get $50 million back. Those numbers may sound like pie in the sky or like crazy numbers, but I have seen those types of results. So if you have one of those high value crops like cherries or hemp or strawberries or those types of things where a significant increase in yield will really benefit you, then yeah, you can see huge results like that, 30, 50, 100 times return on investment. It's definitely doable with this technology. And the real question I got to ask is, well, if this technology can get me a 20 or 30% increase in yield, what is that ROI? If it's a corn or a hay or a commodity crop like that, maybe the ROI is only going to be 2 or 3, 4 times, 5 times, But if it's a specialty crop like grapes or tomatoes or peppers, the ROI is usually at least 5 to 10 times what the cost of our system is. And certain crops, you'll see a much higher ROI. I talked to a person in Iran today, and they're growing shallots and pumpkins. And I said, and we did the numbers, and I think it was like, Miriam, you can tell me if you're watching this. I think it's like 12 to 13 times the return on investment. So, if she spends $10,000 with me, she's probably going to see 100,000 to 150,000 in return extra revenue. How much can I reduce my fertilizer cost by is another one I get quite often. And again, that's a case-by-case basis. We're setting up several case studies with large farmers right now where we're actually going to be sectioning off a portion of their field and asking them to reduce their fertilizer usage by increments. So, for example, let's say we're doing one right now on a 75-hectare trial. On one of the 5-hectare fields that we're testing this on, we're going to split that field up where, the first 2 or 3 rows are going to be 100% normal fertilizer, right? The next 2 or 3 rows are going to be 90%. The next 2 or 3 rows are going to be 80%. And the next 2 or 3 rows, 70, and then 60. And we're going to be actually measuring the differences. And because there happen to be a grape farm and they normally cut or thin their vines in order to make sure that they have a high size, we're going to also be asking them to leave more grapes on their vines. So some of the vines are going to have 50 bunches per vine. Some are going to have 30, some are going to have 40, some are going to have their normal 25. And we're going to just show that the crop booster is going to allow them to have, 30, 40, 50 bunches per vine, which is going to dramatically increase their yield without sacrificing quality, without sacrificing size. And we're running this whole trial because we want to actually prove that our system really does produce that result. And for those of you guys who have looked at some of our case studies and are wondering, every one of our case studies, we've attempted to really focus in and make those case studies as scientific as possible. We wanted to make sure that we kept all those variables consistent between the field we used as a control, or the field that we used as a comparison, and the treated field, the crop booster field. We wanted to make sure that all the other variables were accounted for, and that the only differences were one had crop booster and one had nothing. And in most of those trials that you see on our website, or even in our university studies, obviously, we ran our trials that way. So we're not comparing it to previous years. We're not using this according to some weird agricultural practice. We're asking the farmer, keep everything the same, and then let's test all these variables out. Any other questions, guys? I'm going to hop over to my YouTube video here just to see. So if you guys have any questions while I'm looking this up, please let me know. Looks like Leah had some questions because she hopped on here. Got some new subscribers. Thanks for all the guys on YouTube who are subscribing to us. And if those of you guys who haven't subscribed to us, please, we endeavor to not just make this a promotional product about us or our technology. We want to make this useful and informative for you. So if you guys don't have questions specifically about our technology and how our technology works, or some of those things, if you guys have new topics in agriculture that you want to discuss, then please let me know. But I'm not seeing any other questions here for today. Let me go back to my Facebook just to see if we have any questions. Not seeing anything here. Looks like all the questions have been answered. Other question I have was, and this is something I talked to a person in the Netherlands today, and I kind of want to point this out. If you guys have been paying attention to the news, not just this last week, but in the last couple of months, we're starting to see a lot of governments that are really starting to crack down on environmental issues. And by crack down, I mean they're starting to enact legislation and regulation of telling farmers essentially how much they can use, how much inputs they can use, how much nitrogen they can use, etc. And I think in many cases the hearts might be in the right place for these governmental officials, but you really need to have a good plan, a solid plan for the farmers and how to do that without losing yield. In Sri Lanka, they just cut that fertilizer in half. They said you cannot use these fertilizers, and the farmers, their production over the last year was cut in half also. So they didn't produce enough food to feed their people, and of course that caused revolution. I mean, you want a revolution? That's the fastest way to get a revolution, is starve your people. People can't eat, they can't have a place to live. You're going to see a lot of anger, and that's what we're seeing in the Netherlands. That's what we're seeing in Canada now, and that's what we've been seeing in Sri Lanka. And these regulations, I think, are coming. I mean, I don't personally agree with that approach to it. I would love to see farmers have the opportunity or see a really solid plan for how to actually get the farmers to be able to reduce their inputs without causing them to go out of business or have serious economic problems. But I will say this, the Kiminasi plant booster, the crop booster, because of its ability to increase the efficiency of plants, it is a good stepping stone. So if you find yourself in one of these areas where the government is either taxing you or it's starting to regulate what you can use and tell you how you have to farm, again, I don't necessarily agree with that approach. But if you find yourself in that situation and you're like, what do I do now? Give us a call or send us an email here at service@harvestharmonics.com, because we want to help you keep your farm productive and keep your farm producing the kinds of quantity and quality that you need to stay viable and stay productive and stay economically viable and not have to go out of business. So we want to help you guys if you're in that situation. So if you find yourself in that situation and now you're looking around going, what do I do now? then start with us. Give us a call at service@harvestharmonics.com, and let's discuss your farming operation, how you're running things, the kinds of inputs you're using, and all that stuff. And let's really sit down and have a good consultation with you. There's a very good chance that the crop booster system will really improve, really help you out, and really help you meet those regulatory necessities without having to have serious economic consequences. And of course, we want to help every farmer reduce their chemical use anyway, just because that's our mission. But let's do it in a way that's going to put money in your pocket instead of running you out of business. That's all I got today. If you guys have any questions or want, or you're seeing this maybe on a replay or something later on, again, go to our website at harvestharmonics.com or email us here at service@harvestharmonics.com, and let's have a conversation about your farm, about the crop booster, and see how we can help you become part of the future of farming today. I want to help everybody we can, so hopefully we'll be hearing from many of you guys very, very shortly. Have a great weekend, guys, and we'll see you again next